Oh, hello. In today's video, I'm going to be talking you through how I made my display base for my Badab War themed kill team, my amazing Lamenters Strike Force Justian. So, those of you that aren't firm fans of the channel may wonder what this Badab War business is all about. Well, I've been running ad hoc hobby challenges on the channel. This year we've had a Chaos Legionaries challenge, an Inquisition challenge, and a Badab War challenge. Next year, I plan to solidify 3 hobby challenges that will happen throughout the year. One leading up to Easter, one leading up to summer, and one leading up to Christmas. The first of the new hobby challenges for next year is going to be New Year, New Kill Team, where you get bonus points for trying out a new skill or technique that you've never tried before. Anyway, if you'd like to enter the Badab War hobby challenge, don't be intimidated by my entry. Myself, Zimbad, and Mrs. T.I. always do entries for it, but we can't win. Obviously, we'll be judging everyone else's, and there'll be a video coming out after the 10th of December showcasing all of those entries from the community. Finished on the 10th of December, so if you start now, I reckon you could do a kill team, right, in what, just short of a month? But yeah, you have to join the Discord to enter it, and the link to the Discord is in the description. Discord's free, by the way. You don't need to be a channel member to join the Discord. Some people think that's how it works. It's not how it works. Although, members are great, as are subscribers and likers and everything else, right? Materials. So what did I buy extra to allow myself to create this display base? Well, I purchased some 5mm cork sheet, an MDF trophy stand. Both of those came from eBay. Some Pro-Acryl Golden Earth fine texture paint. And to be honest, that was quite expensive. I think it was about £10. But, I would say I've got half of it left. It looks like peanut butter, it really does. I've got half of it left. It's a really nice product, actually. I was thinking of trying to make my own texture paint, like I'm sure I could. I actually got some sand from the school caretaker with the view to making my own texture paste. But I was thought about mixing it with PVA glue, and I'm not sure whether that would work. And then I was going to have to maybe buy some polyfiller or some cheap acrylic paint. And in the end, I was in Element Games, and I just decided to pick this up. I also got myself some hot glue gun from Amazon with some hot glue, cheap one from China, no problem there, and some bits and pieces from my basing material collection that I've assembled over the years. Alright, so I'm going to talk you through vaguely the steps that I took. So this is the first picture that I've got. So this is essentially the cork sheet sort of measured out, played around with it, cut it out to the right shape to fit on top of the MDF, kind of tried to broke it into stages. You're really trying to put in the skeleton of what you want to do with the cork. You're trying to make the you're trying to make the basic bones of what you want to do, get the elevation in there that you want, and get the holes for the bases countersunk in as well. Drew round things, used a hobby blade to cut things out, and then the hot glue gun to whack the cork together. There is a seam down the right-hand side where the where the cork sheet wasn't actually technically wide enough for the MDF, so had to cut a strip off one of the other sheets and put it on the side of the first sheet. But yeah, so that's the first step, the skeleton. That's the cork and the hot glue. And then as we move on, so now it's basically ready for painting at this point. So a couple of things that I did. The first thing I did, and you can just about see this if you look down the bottom of the image here, right? So that's some masking tape down there, because what I did was I sprayed the entire MDF plinth black, right? And varnished all around the edge of it, okay? And then I masked off the edge to keep it protected while I was doing everything else, and then I got the cork glued down onto the actual plinth, and then generously spread all over the cork this Pro-Acryl basing Golden Earth fine texture. Now the Golden Earth part doesn't really matter, the colour doesn't matter because we're going to paint over this. Basically we were just buying it because we wanted that fine texture, because we're trying, if I skip back here, The Strikeforce Justian, as you can see from this image, because I was doing both parts of the project simultaneously, but these have, these have molded bases, so I was trying to sort of match the texture of the earthy bits of the base, right? So that's that, and then into that, while it was wet, basically just pushed down different elements. So we've got the rocks, obviously from some slate that I just had knocking around. There's quite a lot of skulls knocking around from the Citadel skull pack that we have somewhere. I found this. So this is actually pewter. This is a metal firstborn Space Marine casualty. And I thought this would finally be the best place to use him. He was been painted up by me when I was like 12 or something. So I decided to strip him down, put him down, and glue on a new backpack from a tactical squad box that we had knocking around there. There's also a shoulder pad over here from the same tactical squad box, a knife from the tactical squad box, and my favourite detail, the unexploded melter bomb, because after all, they are lamenters. They aren't allowed to have a good day. So I like to think they're all doomed, because that melter bomb is about to go off and kill the entire kill team, right? We've got some little bits of basing detail that I had from one of the old GW basing detail kits that I was just happy to use up. This wire was a bit of an accident, so I went to try and buy some basing barbed wire. I still think barbed wire would have looked better. Picked up the wrong thing. It was that time I went to Element that I've been talking about where they they just swapped to having their warehouse stock and their in-store stock separate, and the in-store stock was very kind of ravaged. Picked this up by accident, decided to use it anyway because it loses some interesting colour and some point of interest. So maybe there's like a communications cable or something trying to run across here that's gotten all blown up by shelling or something else. It's just some general battlefield debris. But I just pushed all these bits in after I'd smeared the stuff on. With a view to super gluing on anything that ran off. I did also sprinkle, I don't know whether it really shows up, I sprinkled some regular like builder sand in little patches as well, just to try and make some patches of interest as well. So that was essentially what happened there. And then after that dried, so this is another work in progress shop. This is, the miniatures were finished by this point, but I kept popping them in because I was trying to match them up to the bases, right? Trying to get the bases to look right. I should have said sorry. I did also put these two blue helmets are the helmeted heads from the Space Marine Heroes sprue for the captain, who will stand here, and respectively as well for the heavy gunner, who will stand here. So I thought that was a nice touch. The idea that they only just dropped the hats like down on the ground there, so they kind of stand near those. So this is basically after I'd undercoated the whole thing with a spray of Xandri dust and covered the whole thing in a wash of Agrax Earthshade, right? Old Agrax Earthshade, I hasten to add, because I'm still using up the old wash that covers more similar to a contrast paint. It's not the new wash that wants to super run into recesses. And I got it pretty close to where I wanted. Obviously, later on, I came along with I've only actually got one more picture, but later on, I came along with a dry brush of Ashanti bone, and then there are some weathering powders. So the whole thing's got kind of light earth weathering powder all over it as well. And then there's some rust weathering powder around the cable area, which hasn't really stayed onto the cable. Doesn't quite look how I imagined it, but I think it looks pretty good. Obviously painted up the marine at the back. Painted up all the other little different bits, the hats, the dagger, and so on and so forth. And then I've taken the tape off from around the edge. And that's really the whole project from start to finish. Now, there was a lot of different methodologies online that I could have used to do this. There's nobody, I don't think, that's done one quite like this. There's people that use other things. Pink insulation foam's quite popular, and other bits and pieces, but I decided to use cork. Haven't really used the texture of, some people really like cork on a base just for the texture of the cork, and I've only really used that here to get the edge on the elevation, but what I've mainly used it as is thickness to allow me to have something the models to stand in, right? I think it looks pretty good. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I generally speaking, I'm really pleased with the project. I but I am unconvinced I'll do it again, right? For a couple of reasons. So these take up a lot more space in my display cabinet now. They've got a scenic base. And so I said at the start that I was thinking of doing 3 hobby challenges a year. And I want to participate in all those hobby challenges as well, right? So if I create 3 kill teams in a year, each with a scenic display base, I will very rapidly fill up all the space that I freed up recently. Okay, and there is a issue with these, which the base rims on the actual miniatures are getting scratched up when I add and remove them from the display base. So when I take them to events, I'm just going to have to take a black Sharpie with me to touch up the base rims in between putting them in their display base, unfortunately. That said, the whole thing does look really good, and every time I've been to Warhammer World and I've seen a team that's won a painting award of some kind, that team has seemed to have some kind of display base, and so they do say in the rules that you don't have to have a display base, and that's not a criteria, but nevertheless, I think the display base just sets them off and it provides some interest. So this is me trying a little bit harder, trying to push myself in a few other directions to try and get after one of those. I'm not going to win a gaming award, but I can at least try for a painting award, right? But maybe I will do display bases for future armies and just not put them in my cabinet and keep them in a box somewhere so that I've got the display base in a box. But then it's that thing where you're always going to want to take the newest kill team that you've worked on. If it's as good as the last one, you want to take the next one to Warhammer World or to events that you're doing. And at that point, do you... Basically, it's a shame to never look at the older display bases. I don't know. I'm still sorting that one out in my head. If you've got any thoughts, let me know. If you're here and you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and a thumbs up and a comment and consider subscribing, because like the last video I did that was talking about the price for Kill Team Salvation being confirmed in the Christmas booklet did really, really well. It got like 2,000 views, which is amazing for this channel, but obviously this is a hobby video, so it will get fewer views, because scooping people and getting news is like that's where the views are at, right? This is not. So if you're here looking at this one, please do give this video a like and a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers slowly but surely, so every little helps. The only other thing I want to ask for anyone who's still here is, do I have sound issues? Somebody did say that video I'm talking about got a wider audience than usual, which is great, fantastic, that's what you want. But then somebody was like, oh, the sound, I really love your content, but the sound is terrible. Like, do you have your microphone... I don't know what he actually used, can't quite remember, but basically, I think he was asking, was the gain turned all the way up? Like, the gain wasn't turned all the way up. The gain is about a quarter of the way up from where it could go. But I have had issues all through the life of this channel with the sound quality, partially because I just have very acute hearing. I don't think, like, my wife tells me I'm tone deaf. I suffer with tinnitus on and off, and I just can't hear it when the sound's bad. But I have had people say, oh, you're too quiet, so I have to turn the volume up, and then the ads come and they blast my eardrums and it puts me off watching the channel. So I tried to fix that, make it louder. And now maybe the sounds a bit rough. I don't know. I'm considering a new microphone. I've put that on my Christmas list. So if you have any thoughts in that arena as well, do drop them down. Do drop them down in the comments. That would also be really helpful. All right. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'm going to wish you a really good evening and a good night. And I will be back again. Oh yeah, I'll be back again on Saturday for the live stream show at either 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. English time, depending on which GW news thing is actually true. Watch this space. Bye bye.